How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Monday live stream. Always good to be back with you guys. Getting some coffee, being back home. Oh. Make sure, okay, I never said this at the beginning of the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like and make sure to support my channel if you guys like what we're doing here and become a member. Okay. I don't like to do that kind of stuff, but this is how YouTube is working. So more follower, more content, more members, more content. You know the drill. You know the drill. I'm sure you guys been around YouTube enough so you know what's going on here. Please say good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Make sure to say hi. Make sure to say where you are. I want to know. The show here is almost international in the sense of we got a lot of people from a lot of places, and it's always a surprise to me to see that you guys are watching from like all over the world. Hello from Germany. This is a good show. Gucci Dragon. Well, Gucci Dragon, welcome. I hope today we're going to have a good show. Let me wrap up like I'm always doing my week. Really glad to be back on the wing because I just spent... Hello, how are you? How you guys doing? Glad to be back. I just spent a couple of days this week out in New Brunswick, Canada. I went to Three City. I went to Fredericton, Tracadie, and Grand Fall. Been there for 3 shows and 3 nights. Feeling a bit tired. I did drive 2,000 kilometers myself on the truck. So yeah, 2,000 kilometers is like 1,000 something miles for you American friends out there. Lego is also cool. That's not my mug. That's my girlfriend's mug. I'm not called Stephanie. Well, it's 2022, so whatever. Seriously though, did a couple show, 3 show and 5 day out on the road, back to back, 3 show back to back. So 1 travel day, 3 show back to back on the next 32. And oh, lucky you if you were on the wing this weekend, Gucci Dragon. Okay, I want to eventually get my wing on the new show that I'm working on, and I'm gonna work for a while for the next months/year. The band that I just step up to, or just step on the wagon of that band, is gonna be out for around 3 years around the province, doing show here and there, maybe other parts of Canada. They're a French band, so they are kind of limited to French-speaking parts of Canada, which is fine. New Brunswick was great, by the way. If anybody's from New Brunswick, make sure to say hi. But the thing is, I'm running an X32 there. I mean, I'm doing only monitor. I'm there as a in-ear engineer. I only have the lead singer that has a pair of monitor. Everybody else, the other 5 musicians for that band. So I have a lead singer, 2 guitar player, bass player, drum, and a keyboard guy. Everybody else is running stereo in-ear, except the lead singer has 1 in-ear and 1 monitor. I do not recommend that setup. I have to fight a lot of things to make it work. I figure out a way to make it work, believe it or not. I had to play around with delay and in-ears and delay on in-ear mix and stuff like that, but I want to convince him to get full on in-ear. I think he's gonna have a better time, but this is a hard pill to swallow for a band that's been touring for 25 years on Wedge and like never used in-ear before. The fact that you're getting isolated, the crowd response is different. It's different, so I want to switch him over. But with the X32, I feel like I'm a little bit limited, and I want to go over, like, I want to push the show a little more, and I think the wing will be my weapon of choice there. But I need to figure out if everything that I want to do is possible to be done on the wing. I'm going to say a bad word here. Some of my friends that are running Digico told me that they could do this. So, maybe I will have to go Digico. I don't want to. I would love to go Midas Pro Series. Even like something like a Pro 2 would do it. I would love to have the wing to do this. But if you guys, maybe you guys can help me out. Maybe you guys can help me figure out what I want to do, or how to apply what I want to do to the wing. We have Patrick Gilmaillot with us today. Hi. Bonjour, Patrick. Always a pleasure to have you around. Guys, if you have a wing and you are in a mostly studio stuff or I think Patrick has software that are good for theaters, just go take a look at Patrick's website, x32ram.com, x32ram.com. He's developing software, external software that you run on a computer for the wing, but it allows you to get more done with the wing than you can do with the physical like interface in the wing software. He has some extra add-on software that you can control and play around with your wing. Go visit his website. Convert the wing to a rack version. Actually, somebody did it. I have a picture of that. If I said I would do it if I can find a broken wing, like one that has a broken physical interface here. I will convert it into a rack and have that as a rack for the future. If I ever can score a deal on one. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hi to Chris Greco. Greco. I'm sorry, I don't know. Greco? Not sure how to pronounce your name, Chris, but welcome, my friend. I should say, welcome, my friend. Member. Become a member if you guys want to support me a little bit. Sorry, I feel like I'm begging. No, I should not say that. Okay. If you want to become a member, please so. If not, I'm not going to play that sympathy card here. Not my vibe. Sorry about that. Moving on. What I want to do today, basically, I want to put my mug here. It's fine there. What I want to do is the wing is a great console. Let me start with that. The wing is a great console. It's awesome to do monitor. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Sorry, I just tried to adjust my listening setup here. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna ask you guys. I got a bad time. I tried to adjust my solo and blend together. Okay, there you go. Because I changed the music of the volume of the background music. Guys, let me know if it changed for you. But I just want to hear my voice a little more because I'm running a different mix from what you guys hear. So I want to hear my voice a little bit. Back on track. Okay. The wing is great. I just don't know if it has the flexibility of a... Okay, thank you, Chris. The wing is a great console. I just don't know if I have the flexibility of a Digico. Digico meaning, I say that like something for SD8, SD9. Those consoles are like higher price range. So I can get why music at same level. Oh no, Ace Jack, no, the music is different from you, but I'm hearing it like my voice versus the music that I hear is different from what you guys hear. Music is louder in my ear, but it was too loud. Anyhow, what I want to do, the basic idea of what I want to do is on Digico, when you're running monitor, when you're running talkback, there is a way to create a talkback mix where you have all the talkback mic from everybody just for yourself. You basically create a bus send that only has talkback. And you can, in that bus send, make sure that it's always in your ear. So when you are moving around listening to everybody's mixes on the console, you can have you basically have the talkback always on, so you can be in somebody else's mix that doesn't take, that talkback, the drummer's talkback. And if the drummer's talkback, if the drummer pushes his knob or his switch pedal or whatever, it will always be on in your ears. This is what I want to do, because I want to implement on the show that I'm working on and add talkback to everybody, and I want them to be able to talk to me for any reason at any moment. Also, same thing from front of house. I want to give front of house a switch on mic so he can shut the mic down, talk to me because I'm the one on stage, right? When I'm doing monitor, if something goes down, I want him to be able to tell me, well, hey, I lost like one overhead and I don't realize it right away, or stuff that I don't use, like the snare bottom. Nobody in the band on stage is using snare bottom mic, so if I'm losing that, I don't know. Stuff like that. So for that reason, I want to figure out, is there a way with maybe it's the source level. Maybe there is other way for me to... Actually, I just got it. Hold on. Right there. It's right in my face. I just did it. Okay. Let me explain. I was looking way too far. When I'm doing monitor, I'm always writing them in a pre-fader mode. So that way I can have one last mix, one main out as a last mix if ever needed. On the wing, actually, I'm thinking this as we go, by the way. I could use main 4. Hold on. I don't hear myself anymore. But that's going to give you the overall idea. I could use the main out and use main 4 for my talkback mix. Punch myself into... why is it not go? It's because main 4 is down. Hey. I don't have main 4. Okay. Funny stuff happening. I don't have main 4 on my console. I have input 25, so I'm just going to assign main 4. Where's main 4? Bus, main 4 here. Oops, main 4 here. Gonna raise main 4. Now I'm hearing myself. So what I could do to create a talkbacks mix, I could use main out 4, send out main out 4 to, or actually send all the talkback. I could create myself level of talkback into main 4, and in my solo section, like I'm doing exactly right now, on the console, I'm listening only to a single input. I'm listening to my background music coming from USB. You do not even see it on the meter, but anyhow, the music is not going into the main out. It's only going into the that channel. That channel is not going anywhere. Actually, it's not even going to main out if I want to. But I'm pressing solo on that channel. You can see the little solo here. So I could create myself a main out mix, set that as a source, and keep my... Even if I'm gonna try it as we go. I'm gonna select a bus, solo that. I do not hear my background music anymore. You guys do, because it's two separate things. But I can still hear my vocal, and I can solo a bus and always hear, because of the blend that I'm doing in the solo section, the source select stuff and source level. Source level will be my PFL level, so right now I got nothing, or it's at 0 dB because I don't want to play with that. I want to deal with my volume on the physical knob on the left of the console. But my source mix, which could be my talkbacks, could be anything else that I always want to hear, I set that as source 4, or I have all these other options, matrices. Oh, bus. It could be a bus too, or aux. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in the wing. Always surprised. So let's say I want to keep main 4 as my talkback mix. If I'm doing it this way with the source mix on, I always hear what's going on into mix 4, and that allow me to always hear like something like talkbacks, and I could be in anybody's mix, and that's gonna still go into my ear, even if it will play around a little bit with my reference, because let's say the drummer, let's say one of the talkback mic is always open, it's gonna play around. I'm gonna have some bleed, from that mic in everybody's mix, but mostly I will hear all the talkback mics. So I just answered myself my own question. How to do it was a different story, but that's probably going to be a video soon, like really advanced monitoring tips. But do you guys understand what I'm doing here? Sorry, you're not really active in the chat today, or is it bug or something? No. Okay. What do you guys think? Do you see a use for this? Am I the only one in the world who ever gonna need this or not? Also, by the way, I have a new ISP, internet service provider, so if it's laggy or if the show doesn't like smooth out as it does, or have a latency, please let me know if you see me answering your question like Pancho just wrote down. If you guys see a lot of delay or latency, let me know. I want to know, because maybe I will change my internet service provider for you guys, because I want you guys to have a good experience on what we're doing here. Also, as always, make sure to ask your question. This is why we're here. I just wanted to start the show with finding out how to create that bug. You guys just sold me on the console. There you go. I want a wing for my show. I always want to have a wing for my show, but man, I'm always surprised. It was right in front of me. I was looking. I'll go to my other top process that I had. It's on the matrices. And I want to see if it's possible or not to do. Coffee mug again. Where should I put it? Okay, there we go. Okay, save coffee mug. Stay. Okay, Illuminize. I love the concept, but looking forward to the video. The brainstorming was a little fast and random for me, but functionally, okay. Let me get back to what I was saying. What I want to do is create a bus. I want to create could be a main bus, could be a bus. They are actually all the same. Some are switchable between pre or post. Some other are just post. Your main bus can be seen as post fader only bus. Like what I'm doing right now is I send my microphone into my main out 1 and 4. I want to use my main out 4 here because, it's a post fader bus. It's a post fader with this. So if I want to use these as send, I can just put all the faders to 0 on the console and send out into these bus with the screen. If you follow what I'm doing here, is I'm just set, it's the same. A pre or post fader bus is the same. If you're not moving the fader, you just leave it at 0 and you change the amount of send. If you don't touch the faders, they all become like the same as pre or post fader. They all become like pre fader bus. But let's say that I have 4 or 5 talkback mic on the stage, and I want to hear them all the time. Even if I'm listening to somebody's mix, even if I'm listening to somebody's bus, when I'm doing in-ear monitor. What I'm doing here is I'm using the solo source mix. The solo source mix is a setting that appear, I think, in patch 1.10, something like that. We have to thank Rob for that. Thank you very much. This feature allow me to blend in with this here. Hold on. Yeah. Is that the other way around? Okay, no, sorry. Just gonna put that back to 0. This is allowing me to blend in on top of my solo something, a source. Right now I'm using main source 4. It could be main source 1. Sound better to me because it's the same. It's the program that's going out to YouTube. It's process and everything. But this allow me to solo something and set my source, my source, main 1, and I can blend it with my solo. Right now, if I'm turning it down, I'm soloing my music, my background music, because if I don't, it doesn't go through the console. It's just going from the computer out to the internet, and it's split out. It's coming back into the console. If I'm soloing the USB return, I'm hearing the background music, and I want to hear it. I want to be in the same mood as you guys. But let's say that my background music right now, this is what I'm soloing here. This is my background music. Let's say that this is a talkback bus. I'm soloing it. I'm hearing, or let's say this is a monitor mix. I want to listen to that. I'm soloing it. If I want to solo something else, I solo something else. If I want to solo nothing, I just hear my default source. Most of the time, I spend my night in the lead singer's mix because, you know, he's the lead singer. He's the money guy for most of the time. So let's say that I want to, let's say that here, my USB return, which is my background music. Listen to this. Because my, here, source mix level is at 0. Absolutely 0. I do not hear my source, but I can blend in that source because I changed the volume of the music. Now I feel more comfortable with a +3. I'm listening to a source, USB 1 and 2, and I'm also hearing with the blend of these two sources together, well, actually what I'm soloing and my main 1 source. It could be a bus. I could create a talkback bus, send all my talkback into that, and I'm always gonna hear, no matter what I'm doing, my source. I could be in a mix, I could be out of a mix. I'm always hearing my vocal or my whatever source that I have. So basically, if I want to do monitor and I want to have all my bands talk back, all my musical director, my front of house guy, I can have that on all the time into a bus, a main out, or anything basically that we have here. Matrix, could be a lot of stuff. All the bus, all the auxes. I can have that on all the time into my in-ears and listening to other people in-ears, and that will work. They can always talk to me. And being a monitor engineer, being a in-ear monitor guys, you want your band to be able to talk to you like all the time. There is no reason why you should not be able or to hear your bandmates. You are working for them if you're doing monitor. So I answered my own question basically is, this is a feature that was possible to do on the Digico, where you could create a matrix, I think, for your stuff. And you could listen basically to a matrix, and in that matrix you could send your solo level and some other stuff. Like sending a bus into a matrix. Like you can do on a console, I believe. On the wing, if you come here, can you... Yes, you can send a bus into a matrix, all your matrix. Could you Could you do? Okay? Let's try it out. Can you send the solo into Matrix? I don't think you could, right? I don't see. I want to hear you guys out. Let me know if you think there is a way to send out your solo into a Matrix. I don't think you could. Or actually, I would need to take my solo left, right, create a stereo input, wire that back in, send that channel into a bus, send that bus into a Matrix, and that will be a workaround for what I just created. But no. Complex, possible to do it, complex, and not really where I want to go. Okay, let me read you guys out. Love the concept. Okay, no, this is what I read that. Makes sense to me. I was thinking using Matrix rather than Main 4, but it's fine too. The fact that I can use Main 4 is I can use any channel, Patrick. Can we? Okay, let me ask another question to myself here. Can we send a channel to a Matrix? I think you can send one channel, but I don't think you can send many channel. Yeah, not on the X32, but no, channel cannot be sent. Hold on. What's going on here? Pancho, if they're talking to you, their voice going over the FOH, no, they don't, because I'm using on most of my show Radial Hotshot box. It's a small pedal. I used to have one actually, and I sold it to a friend who really needed it. It's a pedal that has one mic input and two output with a switch on it. So if you like when you don't press on the pedal, microphone's going out into line 1. When you press down on the pedal, it's going out to line 2. So that way you can have your back vocal, most of the time what's the word that I'm looking for here? Musical director is going to do back vocal. He's going to go out into the PA, press down the switch. When he's pressing down the switch, he's only speaking into people's in-ear on the second line. It's basically 2 input. You need to have 2 separate channels for that. I'm really fine with that. The Wing has enough channel like for everybody to have a talkback if they ever want to. But yeah, this is why you want to have talkback mic. Basically, hold on. Sorry, many things happen in the chat, and I try to catch you guys as fast as I can. Okay. Okay, so no, you can from X32. You cannot send monitor to Matrix. Yeah, because it's probably a software lockdown, so you don't expand the X32 to do 24 mix out. So basically, I think it's a software limitation to keep the X32 under 8 stereo in-ear or 16 bus, and I don't want to say force you not to expand, but to keep the console under a certain limitation of 3240 input if you play your card right, and 16 bus with all those stuff. But the X32 is pretty much self-contained in that area. They have a limitation. They have a box that they want the console to operate in, same as the XR18. The XR18 cannot almost not be expanded input or output, and there's a reason. The reason is they want to keep footprint for those console to be not physical footprint. I mean channel footprint and bus for the price point that they are on, which is fine. I mean, what you get on an X32 for the price is awesome. It's better than touring in New Brunswick. We had to get a M7CL for front of house, and yeah, no. And the funny thing is, M7CL brand new back in the day cost around $25,000 20 years ago, and now for like $2,500 you can get an X32. with the case. So it's 10 times less the price, and it's doing more, sound better, and there we go. So the amount of stuff that you can get, even if the M7CL was able to get 24 output, it's awesome. But yeah, no, I don't think they will ever expand that way. Is it certain bus that can go into another bus? Yes, Jonathan. Oh, hi, by the way, Jonathan. Yo, good to have you back around, my friend. This afternoon, I have on my plate to check your show file, and if you're free, Jonathan, let me know. We'll do just a one-on-one chat where we can check your file, because I feel really bad. I've been pushing that. I've just been so busy right now. It's crazy. I'm working 7 days a week. After this, I'm going to email, but I want to spend some time on your file that you send me. I just feel sorry for that. I feel like I do not respect my promises of looking at your file, and please accept my apologies. Okay, back to your question. Can we send bus into another bus? Yes. From here, you can take a bus, send it into another bus. From a channel. This is a channel. You can take a channel and send it into all your 16 bus. And if you click on a bus, you can send on every single bus. You can send into the first 8 bus and the 8 matrices. Please send me another file, Jonathan. Thank you. So there we go. I hope that answered your question about the bus. You can take like any bus, so 9 through 16, and send that into the first 8 in the matrices. What I would say is I recommend people to use bus 13 through 16 for their effect, and they can send it into the first 8 bus for inner monitor. If you want to say, look, send reverb into a bus, that will work. Okay. Many channels to bus, then bus to matrices, and you can mix 2 additional sources in the matrices. Okay, let's take a look at matrices. This is not something that I spend a lot of time on into the wing. Let's see what's going on here. So I know you have option to use direct in, but what are the options for direct in? What can you select here? It could be channel source, it could be aux channel, or AAS EBU. I guess, hear me out. I guess if you loop back your AAS EBU, can I do what I want here? Okay. I'm gonna guess AAS EBU. I'm gonna use this as a source. If I have an XLR cable or no, okay, you know what? Just for the proof of concept, I will not do it, but I know it'll work. If I could listen to a matrix, I can loop back my solo. I could loop back my solo and send out my solo. Let's go into routing and make sure that is possible. Nope, not here. Here. Or output. Okay, let's go output ASCBU. In here, can I select my monitor? Yes. Okay, so I could take my monitor A, send that out into ASCBU, loop it back in digitally so I do not degrade the signal at all, send that into matrix 1 or matrix whatever as a extra source, and I could use a matrix. I could use the matrix to loop back a solo and listen to that matrix. So every time I would press solo, I could have an extra source in there because I'm looping back. And once you start to add loop back to stuff you can do, limitation, you feel less limited because, yeah, basically. But the fact that we have an AAS ABU input on the wing, you can do some digital stuff, and I don't think you will have latency much because you do not convert from digital to analog, which is usually where the latency starts to apply. But you can have, like, this is opening a lot of door. If you can send something out into your AES-50 or ABU, send it back in as a stereo source, because it's by default a stereo source. If you can send that back and you can listen to the amount of, like, and you have a level also, the amount of stuff that you can do is crazy. Sorry, I want to see 0 dB. There we go. Oh, can you guys see it? No, you do not see it on the screen. Sorry. But it says 0 dB, and minus 0.1 is bugging me so much. Yeah, basically, what you can do is having multiple source, and you can assign a lot of stuff to your AES ABU and blend that in. So possibilities over possibility here. Flexibility is what resumed the wings to me, honestly. The console has so much stuff that you can do on it, but just the fact that I discovered what I just tell you, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Okay, moving on. What's going on in the chat here? Okay, Jonathan, you have the radial hotshot. Yeah. Thunderhouse, I was saying monitor output to solo to matrix, for instance, multiple monitors in studio to switch between matrix to select them. Oh yeah, definitely in a studio setup that would work, but me, I need to listen to multiple mixes, in-ear mixes that are sent to musician live. So it's a different game, because most of the time I could use A/B, I could A/B some stuff and have a floor monitor and in-ear, but I try to avoid that at all costs when possible. This is something that I don't like to have. Honestly, it's not fun to deal with both. So in-ear, and the fact that we do not lose bus when you're doing stereo or mono stuff on the wing. Like mono, it could be a stereo pair of monitor or in-ear, and it's one bus, and we have 16 bus, so you can do, let's keep 2 for effect, 14 musician mix on monitor or stereo in-ear with this console. This is awesome. You guys have no idea how awesome that is. It's crazy good for the amount of money that we pay. So a lot of people that complain about the wing, well, it cannot please everybody, but seriously, I'm sold. The amount of stuff that you can do with this thing, 2 thumbs up, Behringer. 2 thumbs up, people over at Music Tribe. Thank you very much for creating such a nice console. Keep going, guys. Okay, moving on. Have you ever connected a tablet to your wing, and are you unable to see the meter activating on a channel bus or matrices? Actually, Mr. Clark, I do not connect an iPad regularly to my console, because when I go out in bars or places with band that I cannot bring my wing, or having a physical place that makes sense for me to have a console, I just use my X32 cord, my DL251. When I go out with the wing, it's because I don't want to use an iPad. This is my control surface. When I go out that way, it's just that I want to get fader on the console, and if I have to use an iPad, I won't bother with the wing, even if it sounds good. Most of the band that I'm working regularly with, I have an X32 file with a backup main mix that, it's not as polished as on the wing, or as on, like I have right now, a separate console, but I can usually get away with it. And usually in situation where they do not have a physical emplacement, a physical space for a console, you don't have the sound system to go with it, and it's just going to be like one of those nights that are not that fun to mix with. You're not going to do Miracle, when you're a band that you're doing like venues with, and you have a bar gig where you have like 4 preamplified speaker on the sticks with only 2 sub on 4 boxes. So I just grab my iPad and go. Yes, it would sound a little bit better, but the trouble of running the snake and running, like having a physical space, not worth me bothering. People come to see the show, they will enjoy it. It's not going to sound as good as it could, but reality, like physical footprint, trouble of carrying that around is not worth it. So when I have the wing, it's because I'm in a good venue or a festival and I can run my snake. I have space, I have a decent sound system, and I'm using it on good or great show. I had a scary time on the wing this week. It freezed out suddenly in the middle of a set. Came back 10 seconds later. Off topic, what I was happening to. The only thing that happened to me recently is a bug where when I open up the console, my effect rack was all peeking out. Like you see right now, I have some stuff going. I have my limiter. Everything was... all the VU meter were clipped out, and the rack part of the console was not affecting the overall show. Meaning that when I turn it on, I had no... because I'm using most of the time a limiter or a compression on the main out, and I'm using effect, mostly reverb and delay on vocal and stuff like that. And I had sound, but none of that. The rack was bugged. So I had a show going, but no effect, no nothing. So I start at some point to look at the rack, and everything was like clipped out and not... sound was going through, but not being affected by the effect. So shut down the console, turn it back on again. Everything was fine. I had my show back. Everything was working. So I don't know what happened there. I sent that file to somebody and he was not able to recreate the bug. So maybe it's one time something didn't turn on correctly and like a reboot fixed the whole thing. Basically. How do you suggest is the best way to control things when you have channels going into bus, going to DCA, going to matrices? Is this setup advisable along having bus where I am? Yes, because usually you will not have your in-ear monitor being affected by that, meaning that your the tap point, there we go. Let's take a look at this. The tap point that you're going to select for your in-ear monitor. So right now I'm in a channel. I'm on channel 40. I have my bus send, and depending on what we have here, like this bus setup, that bus send, basically you should do your in-ear monitor, everything pre-fader, or at least when you select your, it should be any of the pre-fader stuff here, not the post-fader for your in-ear on all your channels. So if you want to mix in-ear monitor, I would say go pre-compression. When I'm doing in-ear, I try to go pre-compression. If it's not working, I go post compressor on tap point 5, well, depending on the change, because you know on the wing that you can reorder your blocks if ever needed. I could do this and move my insert point, my first insert point to be there. But I try to send uncompressed signal to in-ear monitor and only EQ, because when I EQ stuff, it's usually for the best of both worlds. Hi, Ivan. You missed the first 45 minutes, and actually you missed something. I just discovered a new feature that is really, well, not a new feature. I just discovered a way to work in-ear monitor and listening to talkback at the same time. Take a listen. Take a listen at the stream once it's done, and go back and watch what we did here, because what we understand here. Because maybe you will have a trick up your sleeve that you can use to do something. But okay, sorry, I'm degrading here. I want to make sure, Mr. Clark, to understand your setup here. So when you have channels going into bus, then going to DCA. Are we talking about subgroup bus that you're using and then to DCA? If so, that will not affect in-ear monitor, because again, I would suggest you strongly to use pre-fader monitor send. Pre-fader bus send for your in-ear monitor. Gucci Dragon also experiment a bug where certain effects stop working after a while. Really? I didn't have that. What were the results of that? What effects crapped the bed, and was it your reverb that suddenly stopped? If so, I would try to open a ticket with your Music Tribe. Open a ticket with Music Tribe. Maybe you have a bad DSP. This is something that can happen. It tested fine at the building plant, and after a while it crapped the bed. Keep in mind that we're dealing with computers, right? Sometimes they could be buggy. Sometimes they could work for a while and just die soon. The good thing for you is you have a 3-year warranty, and I don't think the Wing has been out for 3 years. Is it? It's in February. In Canada, they arrived in February 2020. So no, it's probably under warranty. If anything, Mr. Gucci Dragon, open a ticket and make sure to get it fixed. If not. Okay, this is the second time that I asked you to guess. Sorry, I don't speak English. I'm really tired today. I don't know if it shows. Maybe I'm a little bit loopy. Just being really, really tired. Make sure to like this video if you like it. If you think that I suck today, press the thumb down button. It's fine. I'm fine with both. What really matters is the interaction. The more we interact with the video, could be chat, could be thumbs up, thumbs down, people who subscribe, people who become a member, the more it will tell the algorithm that we exist, and it will bring more people like us to this live stream. If you have a broadcast matrix is separate from your stage monitor, sub, FOM, would send individual channel to that matrix on bus. This is a church setting. All thumbs up over here. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, please say hi to my friend Penda Lonely, my moderator, who is currently out on tour. I think he's in Tampa today, or it could be wrong, could have been yesterday. But I'm missing my friend who's been out on tour for a while. I know it's going to take a while before I see him. I think he's out until November, but be aware that there is a beer waiting for you in my fridge at my house once you get back. Atlanta today. Okay, Atlanta. Same difference. Mr. Clark, sorry, I'm trying to understand your routing here. When you're doing a broadcast, which is what a lot of people do. So when you say broadcast main matrix, you're sending out. What is the source of your broadcast? A matrix here? If you do have a matrix, the only thing, okay, I've said that before. If I ever have a matrix, well, let's go here. If I ever have a matrix, the only thing that I could send here for a broadcast will be channel or aux channel that I would create. I would create a stereo pair of crowd mic if there is ever a pair of broadcast crowd mic that you can send to your broadcast and you don't want to have in your room because you don't want to amplify your room. Other than that, I don't see anything that you can put into the matrix input for a broadcast. It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not sure to understand your setup here, Mr. Clark. Do you send channel to bus, then to main, or directly to main? I'm a directly to main guy. The only exception where I send stuff into a bus is when I have a lot of vocal that are really dynamic. Let's say on my friend's Simon show, I have him, a little bit of back vocal, but they matter a lot. So what I do is I send all my vocal into a bus, compress that bus, and send that to the main or mains with an S, multiple mains. In this case, I'm using everything on a stereo left-right. I just sent out left-right into the PA, but this is the only place where I do compression on a group. Everything else, or when I'm doing monitor, there is absolutely no group. Every input is treated as I try to manipulate or work on the channel strip itself to make it good in in-ears, or even when I'm doing front of house, sometimes when it's one nighter, everything goes straight into the main out, and I had compression and EQ on every single channel. But again, I had that conversation with a lot of people. I do way less than you think. I have a setup here. It's a fake band. It used to be a file where I had some like shows, a playback, a virtual playback. That file is long gone, but I still have that as a basic setup for my live stream. But I can show you guys. This is a bass drum mic. I'm not doing much here. I'm doing a little bit of gating, so when the bass drum is not being hit, I don't get a sympathetic resonance from other. I don't have resonance from other stuff like the bass player. I have an EQ and I have a compressor. This should not be on for some reason. I don't know why that is. And it's just going into main one. And if I were to have in-ear mixes or monitor mixes, it would go like everything that you see there. It will go post EQ, no compression, straight into the in-ear, and that's it. And I believe I'm fine with that because people keep calling me for 20 year. Oh, okay. So sorry. Just saw the hurricane post. No, Atlanta is fine. Florida, you have a hurricane? I was in a hurricane 2 days ago. I think it's Fiona who hit the coast of New Brunswick where I was 3 days ago. We got into the night, so we just slept through it. It was fine in the hotel, but the building was shaking with the wind and everything. We slept fine, but rain, a lot of rain. I had once the hurricane passed us, we left. I drove for 3 hours in like really, really bad rain weather. No water accumulation anywhere, but it was bad. Okay. This is not a weather forecast. Do you send channel to bus, then bus to main or main, yeah, okay, answer that. Channels to main matrix, okay, or channel bus main matrix. It depends on what you want to do, Mr. Clark. The question was, okay, whoa, sorry guys. Do you send channel to bus, then main? No, I do. Okay, depend on the situation, but honestly, most of the time, I just create my channel to be perfect or what I want to have. So, sound good in the room, sound good on the broadcast, sound good into in-ear, and I just use that as a source of good sounding noise, bass drum, vocal, whatever it could be, and send it everywhere, and then I apply the needed processing for a broadcast. Because when I'm doing broadcast, like I'm doing right now on my main app, I'm taking my microphone, which is like, I'm doing a lot of processing to this mic because I'm speaking really far and there's a room and my room is not that treated. So taking a microphone, make sure that my microphone sound good. So, oops, that's not the good thing. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Taking my microphone, de-esser, EQ, compression a little bit or a lot, depending on a lot. Let's say a lot of compression. Send that into main one. Into main one, I then create a quick mastering. Quick mastering meaning I have compression going. I can compress a little more. I have compression going. Then after that, I have a limiter, and I'm using that limiter to hey. Oh, the stream is probably not loud today, is it? Oh no, it's decently loud. I just apply a little bit of limiting on the overall mix. Once I got that, and this is what I'm listening to, by the way. I'm listening post limiter, and that way I can send really, really loud stuff without clipping because of the limiter. But I send, but the source, the channel, the EQ, the mic EQ, it's made so it sounds good with none of that stuff first. Then I send it out to a bus, and then I apply processing to that bus to make it sound good, depending on where it goes. If I were to send my microphone into a PA, if the PA doesn't sound good, I would EQ the PA in that bus. I would not, keep my PA flat, meaning no EQ, and then tweak the channel so it sounds good into those speakers. I will make the channel sound good, then apply EQ on the PA, correct the PA, then apply compression if needed for a broadcast. Do you regularly use the PSA plugin for vocal in live settings? Doesn't add gain before feedback. It doesn't. Okay. I use. Sorry, wrong channel again. Oh, this is not something that I want to have here. Anyway, don't mind that. I do not use the delay. I do not use the delay on my vocal. But the PSE, no, it doesn't really add. Well, it could add a little bit of gain before feedback, but it's gonna give you a cleaner stage if you're having monitor. Or if you're having, actually in-ear, you can definitely get a cleaner stage because your stage is already clean. Most of the time when you have in-ear now, people use guitar modeler. There's only like the drum that is doing sound on stage. And unused vocal, unused instrument, I'm using the source extractor on that, and it's just quiet down on everything. Like the same idea as when you're using gates on drum. It's for keeping like the ambient resonance of everything down until like a drums get hit. But this is basically what I use the PSEs for vocal live when I have people on monitor. I do not give, when I'm doing monitor, this is the last thing that I put on. I'm doing my monitor with nothing on the source extractor. It's off, and once everybody's happy with that, I just turn that on, and it's just cut down on the vocal when it's not used, and nobody notice it. And this should be as transparent as possible. You do not want people to notice that you have expander or gate on their vocal. Thank you. Still waiting for a DL32, so I do not use the wing for live show yet. Oh, really? Our DL32 really out of stock everywhere? Because, okay, I learned something really funny about the DL32. One of my friends that was using a Pro 2, for some reason, could not get his stage box to work. The company that he has those as a DL231, not a 251, the 231, and for some reason was not connecting. It was dropping in and out. So he had the idea of using a DL32 and a Midas Pro 2. Apparently, if you plug a DL32 in the back, you set the device inside the Pro 2 to be a generic device, it will connect, and it will connect at 96K. I definitely going to investigate that sometimes, because we can definitely answer the question, are those preamp the same? Because I can have in the same console with the same mic using a Y splitter both stage box connected together, or not connected to the same console, and it can work. I don't know if you have the only 24 input or 32. I want to also figure that out. If you connect 2 cables, can you get 32 input of that stage box? But the DL32 is working. The lights turn on green and you get sound in a Pro Series console. This is way cheaper. If it sounds fine, if it sounds as good, it's way cheaper, but it can definitely answer the question. Does it sound, are the DL32 the same as the blue box? I want to know. I definitely want to know. But something that came to my mind after I heard that, do you know, or did you realize that there is no clock at all displayed on the DL32? You cannot set it as a master clock like on the DL16. It's another design. So maybe I spend way too much money on the DL251. If it sounds the same, I believe it's not sounding the same. Does the Pro switch to 48 by itself? No, the Pro doesn't switch to 48. It's the patch that's clocking up to 96. And apparently it's working. This is why I want to see it. I don't believe it myself. But you could. Like if you want, let's say you want to have a couple more input on your Pro 2. Take an AES50 input, plug a DL32 in there, and if you set it as a generic device, it should clock. I didn't believe it. I need also to check which firmware this thing is on. And yeah. I have the DL32 for years. About a year ago, I had an issue where the power light blinked and wouldn't connect. But tested, and it's been fine until yesterday. Maybe it's your cable. Thunderhouse Studio. Thunderhouse Sound. Sorry, Thunderhouse Sound. You did not spend too much money. You got the extra channel on your DL250. Oh yeah, the 251 as extra channel and the dual power supply. Yes, for sure. No. Feature wise, I get it. Feature wise, extra channel wise, sound wise, this is the question. Because I believe 2 DL32s is cheaper than the 251. Could be wrong here. But you would get 64 channel for the same price if it's the same price. And 32 output and, all that jazz. So, I would like to know. This is like pure... I want to know. I really want to know. Okay. Church broadcast. Send vocal to bus 1 and instrument to another bus, then send both bus to a matrix. Okay, well, that's one way to do it. Jiro, if you want to do this, if it's, there's many ways to get a great result. If you like to process your band together, you have to compress your band together and your vocal separately, not on the channel, more on the bus, that's up to you. Like it will work. Definitely will work. But my approach is get a really good channel strip. Get a really good channel strip. That's it. Would you suggest using a UPS to protect your wing from electrical damage? I'm lucky. I live in Canada. I live in Quebec. We have some of the best power in the world. I do not feel like I need a UPS to protect my stuff from power surge or power peak or drops or whatever, we have one of the most stable and consistent power in the world here. Knock on wood, you're never, there can always be lightning hitting something really far away that will create an overload in the circuit, but here, not a necessity. I heard that someplace in the States or other countries in the world, it's not the same deal. So feel free to protect your gear. I mean, you could get a used UPS with a dead battery that will protect you from power surge for like $20 to $50 for a good one. If you are in a permanent installation, I would say, yeah, sure. Worst case ever, you get one with a battery that will last you a minute or two. You can, if a power drops happen, because power drops are happening everywhere. If you get a power drops, it gives you time to mute everything, save, shut your console down, and you're safe. If you are touring, well, the weight is a problem. If you don't mind the battery backup, I would say get the battery out of the UPS, but definitely get it protected. You never know. And in shady electrical situation, I always bring a voltmeter and I check before I plug my stuff. I will definitely recommend that. Remember, on the wing you have 4 main out, so you can just send another mix to a main instead of a bus. Yeah, definitely. What I do, if I were to do a broadcast like on a single console, I would use another main. I would send different level that will follow. I would build my first mix with my fader at 0 dB, create my... Hold on. Let me show you guys. I have that camera. I should use it, right? I would create, put all my fader to 0, create my mix using the main in, out, 1, create my broadcast mix with that, so probably less vocal, more drums, instrument, do my balance, and once I got that down, I will leave all my send to these bus the way they are once I create my mix with these send. And I would mix with my fader and, writing the guitar solo, writing the people singing with the fader. And after that, just bring always everything back to 0. That way you mix both of your mix at the same time at the ratio that makes sense when you're in the room or at home. My approach. Still trying not to get my hand on the DL2. So if anyone's selling, hit me up, UK based. Well, Jonathan, please guys help Jonathan if you have a DL251 to sell in the UK. He will be a really, really happy guy. I always use my UPS. The building power went out, and only the lights in the building was the only light was on the building was the wing. The DL232 and the building emergency light. Well, the DL32, do you really need to have that on your... If possible, get it on your UPS, but you don't absolutely need to have it power drop protected. But you need to have it electrically protected, I would say. I use a UPS just for console/stage box. Okay, yeah. I had an issue in the past where with low voltage shutting down the M32 and M32, and the wing do not seem as sensitive. But yeah, definitely the power supply got better, I believe, from Behringer. They upped their game. They are always upping their game. So yeah. Could you please dive a bit about DAW control setup? I actually have a video about that if you've never seen it. Otherwise, I would say I'm not really a big expert on DAW control. I know it's there. I know when you push that little button here. Oh, you guys cannot see the console today because I'm way too close. But the console switch, it becomes a DAW. And while we're on the subject, you can go into Surface DAW here. Hold on. you can go to DAW, set up DAW up there, and make sure to set up the DAW of your choice. You have a lot of option here. Cubase. I'm actually a Logic guy, and I would load it. Confirm. There we go. That will be the preset for Logic. It will connect over USB. Connecting the USB in the back of the console will give you that load. Confirm. There we go. And you have a couple configuration. So custom control only. That will be just one part of the console. MCU. So you have the middle section, and the other half of the console will be connected to the internal software of the wing. So you can do some sound, do some EQ on there. You can have less channel, full on just DAW mode with everything your call at that point. What do you feel is the amount of fader and control that you need for your need with DAW? But I'm not a studio engineer at all. Like, I leave that to other people now. Even if some friend asks me to like help them with a record, I would say I will definitely help them do a demo, hand the track to somebody else, have a good time. I can do some good sound capturing stuff, but mixing and everything, my approach is so different when doing in-ear monitor and front of house. It's doing sound, but it's totally different approach. So basically, this is it. Take a look at my video about the DAW control, but I don't know if I'm gonna even move on with that. Actually, I was supposed to do a series where I show you guys how to record with the wing, record drums and everything. It's been a long time since I've touched these videos. I want to do it, I want to finish it, but I think it was supposed to be a longer series. I'm gonna shut it down into like 1 or 2 more episodes and call it today, because not my field of expertise. I've been doing live sound for 20 years. Having all vocal instrument to different buses allow you to easily mix both level-wise. If that's your approach, never been a problem for me doing everything into the main bus. I only use sometimes a vocal bus just to add compression on vocals together. So when you have like all your vocal singing at the same time, they get louder, and I want to keep them under control. So this is the only reason where I'm using vocal bus, and it's all going into main anyway. But yeah, I mean, nothing wrong against using different bus. That will work. Definitely will work. It's just not my approach. As long as it works, as long as you get the result that you want. This is the thing. People ask me how to do live sound, how to do, what is the recipe? There is no recipe. Get the result. What is the result that you want? And this is where I lose a lot of people. The result that you want to achieve. What is the result that you want to achieve? Everybody says good sounding mix. Okay. What is a good sounding mix to you? It's not the same for me. When you are doing arena tour, do you want your bass drum to be heard? Do you want your bass drum to be felt? Do you want a really fat kick? Like, that would never work on a CD. But do you want something that is moving air? Do you want your vocal to be really upfront? Do you want your vocal to be in the mix? Up to you. This is the. Do you want your vocal to be dark? I have some singer that ask me on purpose to put their vocal a little darker because they like dark vocal. They like dark vocal with not too much reverb. Other people, like my friend Simons, like that to be wet. We try to, we have a room and we try to move the wall. We try to expand. Well, I want you to feel like you're in an arena, even if you're in a small room. So more reverb, more delay, more repeat. I want to create depth. and it has, and that's changing room per room. I have to adjust that all the time. So who knows? What you have to tell me what is the result that you want to have, and you can work that way. Any news about when the apps come for the Wing to prepare a gig? You mean the offline editor? I don't know if the offline editor is in the work, but I know there is some other work to be done on the Wing right now that you guys will be really happy about. Stick around. Please stick around, guys. You soon, I don't want to say any date, but I would say soon, I will do another firmware update live stream, and you guys will be really happy what's coming up. I know there is some stuff in the work as we speak, but stick around. Stick around. Telling you. Dawns of Dream, hey, welcome. Trust me, I'm busy enough. Okay. Yes, everybody's waiting for that, Maze, trust me. Okay, if you route certain channel to a bus or other directly to main left right, can there be any latency issue between the bus input versus the direct? I would say yes, if you have processing on that bus. We discovered the other day that the 31 band EQ is adding 32 sample of delay, not millisecond, 32 sample of delay when you just enable it. So definitely you can create some kind of latency there. I would say not enough that would, affect your overall result, but enough to create some phasing issue if you have some stuff going into a bus and also at the same time to the main left and right. But for most use case, don't worry about that. I'm having trouble mixing online. My mix down sounds so thin and dry after sending the matrix from the audio console. What are some suggestions to improve the audio quality of your online stream? Crowd mic, you definitely want to have shotgun mic of your crowd. That will give you more stereo feel because you have two separate crowd mic, one on the left, one on the right. That will grab the sound of the room. So it will reflect a little bit more of what you have going in the room, but you just understand the reason why big TV show have a broadcast console when they are doing live event. You have somebody that's mixing for the room, somebody that is mixing for TV show, because when you are at home, the dynamic of you cannot have as much dynamic in your signal. Your drum cannot be hitting really hard with huge transient of sound going out. That will simply not work. So I would say compression, like try to copy or be really close to my mastering setup that I have. So I have a compressor, my Soul G bus. I try to compress less than 3 dB of that just to get rid of some peak and get some volume. After that, I have a limiter. I'm just hitting the limiter a little bit just to reduce the dynamic of that and bring it back up to a really loud level. And after that, I would say you will have to compromise. Less dynamic on your channel strip, less dynamic in your room, more compression on your main out. You basically have to mix that like it's a CD. But it's always going to be a compromise. You cannot win. It cannot be a win-win on every single case here. You either mix for stream and you send that into the room, or you create a live show, compress it until it fits into a pair of speaker and adjust the taste. But having a separate mix for your live stream will be another option. Like I said before, using your main SAN. Let's say you're using main 4 for your stream, and you create a different mix with, you know, the amount of level that you send into that bus. That would be my approach. And compression, live stream, what we listen on the TV, on the internet, is so compressed in terms of dynamic, not in terms of sound quality. It's so compressed in terms of dynamic that it doesn't forgive anymore. It's another story. I have a video actually about streaming. I would say take a look at that. That can maybe help you, but it's a compromise. You have to compromise for a house live show versus at home. The width on the channel, how do you use it? Why did I change my camera? The width is when you have stereo source. When you have something that you have a left and a right. And sometimes, let's say drum overhead, sometimes when you have a space pair of condenser, it's too wide because the person sitting on the left side of the room is not going to hear. If you, let's say that you pan your left overhead to the left, right to the right, you want sometimes the person sitting in the left of the room to hear what's going on the right. But if you send it only that signal into the right side of the PA, is never going to hear it. So you want to keep that stereo source stereo, meaning pan left right, but you want to bring your pan in a little bit. So you just gonna close that down to, let's say, 50%. So you're gonna send your stereo source a lot on this side and a little bit on this side, until you reach the point of being zero, meaning that you have two mic. It's basically a pan control. You have your pan and you just bring them back to center. So even if it's a stereo channel with a width of 0, it becomes a mono source. As soon as you open up the width, you start to have that stereo effect going until you reach 100%. 100% meaning that what's in the left channel of that stereo source will be all the way to the left. What's in the right channel of that stereo source will be all the way to the right. I hope that answered your question. Behringer, please give us 64 user signal. Yes, agreed. What are you listening to? What are you listening to the online mix? A phone? Don't use phone. Use studio monitor if possible. Or if you want to mix for a phone, be prepared to rip your hair out of your head. No two phones sound the same and they sound really bad. Listen to a great mix into a phone and no. Nope, doesn't sound good. Is there a specific type of SD card that you should be used for live recording? I think Class 10. I also think Class 10 or more. The specs are on the Behringer website, Behringer/Wing website. I do not know that information from the top of my head. I just threw a card in there. I have only good ones or recent ones, and fast, so I know they are working. But you can definitely get a deal on maybe a second tier, lower spec one, or not the fastest one, because now for camera we have cards that are going super fast. You don't need to have that for the Wing. Anything would do, and I believe there is no, even if the Behringer website say that there's a limit of 32 gigs, there is no limitation on the size of SD card that you can use for the Wing. I have a video about that where I show I'm using my 256 gig card to record a show, and it's working just fine. So go take a look at my video. I think I have the spec for the card in there too. So I hope that answers your question. Hey, Adman, I see what's going on in the chat today. I miss a good show. Yeah, I would say listen to the beginning of the show. We discover how to. I open up my mind again about the Wing a little more. One more question, if there's still some time. I don't have anywhere to go. Why would we run out of time? or room has a left speaker 5 and 6 meter closer to the audience compared to the right speaker. This week I tried panning the main left right around 20. Okay. Is this the right thing to do to have your stereo image in center, or should I amplify, or should I, no, not the volume. Herman, you want to add delay. You want to delay that speaker by 5 or 6 meters. I would say get it right. And actually, can we do this? Can we delay only one side on the wing? I know you can do it on the X32. You go into your output and you had some delay, but let's take a look at this. Maybe not. Maybe it's a feature that we would need to. Hold on, guys. Whew. Sorry. I don't know why. I'm not allergic to anything, but for some reason, I feel like I want to sneeze really bad. That's live. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. Let's try to find some delay. So we're gonna go main. Could we delay only one side? I don't think we can. Help me out, guys. Is there a way to add delay only to one side? To one physical output? Where would that be? Surface, no, not there. Routing, output main. Source, maybe source? Can we, no, source is only for the input. And we don't have, maybe even home main out. Let's go take a look. Here, there is a delay on the home main out, but it cannot be added only to one side. That's bad. Yeah, it won't be individual. Okay, a workaround would be to use a matrix. Maybe no, user signal will not help you out with that. Okay, that will be a matrix. So Headman, what you want to do is have a matrix, and in your main out, you want to send your main into a matrix. I'm gonna do it physically so I can see what's going on. And you, in your patch, you want to output AES50A. Right now I'm having matrix 15, so you want to do main. You want to go main left. Oops. Main left, in your left, matrix, whatever in your other output. You want to go on your matrix here, and you want to set up a delay meters, 5 or 6 meter, 5.5, 5.5. I said 5.5. You want to do that, but that's bad. We definitely, okay, this is a feature that I would like to have. Output delay, individual output delay, because yes, sometimes your PA cannot be set straight and you want to delay one side. So yeah, make sure that your delay is the way you go, not panning. Because panning will work, but the real issue here is delay. Now because Don is writing a lot of stuff, I need to get my phone out, go look at my own stream, because I do not have a mouse with me. The thing is, Herman, if you have your delay right, you won't need to delay. You won't need to volume compensate anything. It will, because the sound will be the same. The sound will reach the center of the room at the same volume at the same time, because you're delaying one side. Oops, sorry, you cannot see me when I'm doing this. It will even with the distance, it will reach the center of the room at the same time at the same volume. So that will be my way to do this. Now, if I can get out of my publicity here, I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, good. I can see what's going on here. Patrick said about the user signal, I read somewhere the limitation for user signal is linked to DSP. So, oh really? I'm surprised by that. If you pull the width back, does it mean the output is delayed or just further back in the mix? What? I do not believe it. The width is working with delay. The width is dealing with pan. When you have two basically when you create a stereo sources, instead of having two pan knobs, you only have one for that channel. So you can take that stereo sources and pan it one side or the other, or you take the two individual channel going in there, because a stereo source is two channel that you deal with on a single channel, stereo channel. If you want them not to be hard pan, the width is basically just bringing the pan together. It's like they're linked. Basically, the pan are either center or you spend the width, and if you go width to 100%, it just go like all the way out. This is what the width is doing. Midas plus gave us the rack mount Heritage 96. Well, let's start with the air, okay? What do you think the good folks at Behringer will complete the offline editor? I don't know when. I believe it will eventually happen, the offline editor, but I don't know when. But I know there is some stuff that you guys request that is in the work. Stick around. A lot of people hate on the Wing, but I'm a big fan. Super flexible routing for the price. It's awesome for the price. Nothing can beat that for the price. Trust me. I saw a lot of stuff. Okay. Okay, now that I've read over dozens of time 12 messages, I can now be back looking at my screen. But okay, was it correctly volume compensate? Yes, I answered that. Every time the distance double have power. So that's why I saw the volume on the right side. SPL wise, not that much. Like, and 5 or 6 meters is a lot, but it's not that much. If you are, maybe you will have to do both. But it's okay because you're running on the matrix. If you run this on the matrix, you can set your matrix send to be like 3 dB louder, and that will compensate for your volume. But first, you want to get the delay right, because when you're not doing the delay right, you're adding slap back somewhere. Somebody is gonna hear a signal coming this way and this way at the same time. It's gonna slap. This is why you want to go with delay first. Once you set your delay right, you want to set your set your volume after that. My suggestion to calculate how much delay you need to have: go in the center of your room, try to get a laser measurement tape, measure one box, measure the other, and delay by the difference. Delay at the meeting point in the center of your room. After that, once you got that dialed in, delay, add some volume on one side to make volume on the further side to put it back up, but make sure that you got your delay right. It will be way easier for you to mix also into that. Can you set? You can set the width to be more than 100%. Is there some DSP stuff going in there beyond 100%? I believe so. I believe it's just like phase reverting in the center, but I'm no expert on that. So please don't quote me. But I believe when you are on the stereo here. When you set your width to be wider, I don't know what it's doing, because I'm doing it right now on a mono source and it doesn't do anything. I don't think it does anything. I don't know what it's doing, actually, over 100. That's a really good question. Maybe if Patrick is still around in the chat, maybe he has an answer for us on that, because you know a little more deeper stuff inside the wing, but I don't know from the top of my head. Maybe is the answer. Would you listen to our live stream mix and give us some feedback? We have a few church people here, so it could be fun to do it live. Definitely, if I'm available when you're doing a live stream, I can definitely take a look at that. Or if you have a playback, I don't mind spending a couple minutes listen to your mix overall, like going through one of your live stream and definitely doing that. I don't mind. Yeah, sure. Let me know. Send me an email or a link, and if I can definitely find some time to do that for you, my friend. You've been around so much, and you've been supporting the channel for so long. It will be my pleasure to help you out. So it's recorded, so we could do anytime. Oh, sure. Well, send me an email. Send me an email in any kind of video conversation that you can have, and we can have a chat together about it. Will be fun. I think the width is a millisecond function. Panning can be done post width. You think it would? I think, honestly, dealing with the MS thing in the console, because maybe not a lot of you guys know about this, but we're gonna create, just for fun here in my channel 39, a MS source of some sort. Let's go here, and we're gonna create MS. We created a source for this chat. What did I do? Okay, here, MS source. Oh, I cannot use 39 because it's on solos. Whatever. Okay, sorry. Let's do this local. This MS source. Okay. Width will also impact the MS source. If you don't know what an MS source is, this is a mid-side stuff. I don't want to go too deep into this because not a lot of people will use this, but I think the width also play around with backward. Like, okay, but something else that you need to notice with the width is when it's green, it's left and right, and if you swap it around, you can basically change the position of your left and right. Let's say you're looking at a piano and the left side is the low end, the lower note, right side higher note. If you want to switch that around for some reason, I don't know why, if you want to say you want to switch, or your drum overhead, they are patched backward, you just go like, nah, whatever, doing this or doing this, that's gonna work. That will definitely work. So a lot of option that you can do with the width thing, but this is not something I really spend a lot of time to, because when I have stereo source, it's just a true stereo source, and when I don't, it's drum overhead, and I just like bring that in a little bit. For live sound, doesn't do much. But we have an explanation here from Patrick. I don't know what the algorithm is used for width control on the wing. It's the old day. In the old day, you just play with A, B, and you just, basically. In the old day, you just play with A, B plus the X or whatever to play with the width. So when you're talking about width that way, we're talking about three with the three line method, Patrick. I spoke about MS. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, guys. When you speak about MS is a miking technique that you do with a figure eight microphone and a cardioid microphone. You take something like a pencil condenser mic, pointed at the source. You take a figure eight mic, something like this, condenser that has figure eight. You put it so that microphone at the front is pointing at the source. The figure 8 of the microphone is pointing at the side. Double the line on that. You put a Y splitter on it. You put the center, the condenser cardioid mic in the center. You take the figure 8, one line on one side, the other line on the other side that you pan left and right, and you flip the phase on one of them, and you play around with the volume of these 3 microphones to create stereo field. It's basically feel like you are in the room. This is something that is done a lot on TV and on some studios, some miking technique. I've recorded some back vocal that way with somebody looking at a MS, physically moving on one side to get more of the room, and that feel moving on the other side to do another back vocal, but not something that I'm using live. So MS is a miking technique that I know exists, but do not play around a lot with. I'm pretty sure the width will impact that, will impact the stereo pickup side, but this, not my field of expertise. I can explain the basic of it, but I'm no MS expert. After that, the width, I know it's there. I know the little use I do with it is, it does what I want it to do when I want to use it. But what happened after the 100% and stuff like that, I don't know. Never needed to look into that. I can definitely ask. Well, we asked Patrick. We should have some kind of information there. If not, I'm gonna reach one layer higher if possible and try to get information on that. But I'm pretty sure it's been like set in a firmware release somewhere. When they added hold on, that little small icon here, that little width thing here that give you the stereo spectrum of the stereoscope of the spectrum. When you have stereo source like I have here, you can see that it's not a straight line, meaning that it adds some stereo stuff going. No expert on that. Honestly, for doing live sound, there's a lot of cool feature, but not a lot of stuff that I'm using day to day. So, sorry. Let's go back. I mean, the wind is basically sign expanding or narrowing it like in a major. Yeah, the panning is posed, so you can make it super wide and super thin on the side. Okay, yeah, definitely agreed with you. It's some kind of stereo major, not something that I really use. Here's a good use for the width. Okay, guitar mono, left right, that you send to a subgroup. Pan the left right, set to 50, and don't 50, so you don't have any issue with losing a positive field, like you were talking about the overhead earlier. On the bus had width, let's say to 125 to get guitar wider, but doesn't affect the audience missing a positive field. I have other tricks that I do with guitar, but it's not like this. What I do with guitar, let's go. Most of the time I'm using a 57 and the 421 that I put on either the same speaker or 2 different speakers if the guitar amp has more than 1 speaker. And I make sure that I align them in phase. So what I do is I take 2 mono sources, flip the phase on one, moving the mic until I cancel them out. So I set the capsule basically to be at the same distance from the speaker, so they are in phase. Flip the phase back on, so I have 2 different microphone, a 421 and the 57 in phase. And I keep the 421 in the center, and I pan my 57 on the side of the guitar player on the stage. So let's say that I have 2 guitar, left, right. I will keep my 421 in the center, pan my brighter mic, which is my 57, extremely left, right. And that give me a lot of bottom end energy in the center and definition on the side, so it widens the guitar, but it's also mono at the same time, meaning that you do not miss information from left and right. And when I'm doing this in in-ear monitors, I'm doing just for in-ear monitor, I create a stereo source if possible. If I have the option to be separate, I'm creating a stereo source, and I give the guitar player the 57 on one side and the 421 on the other, and I patch them so it's the other way around for the other guitar player. So when I raise the guitar player hear him mono-ish, 2 mic left and right, so darker mic, brighter mic, and I raise that, and I do the same thing for the other guitar player. It's helping definition because they hear them a little on one side brighter, a little darker on the other side, vice versa for everybody else in the band that need both guitar. Singers love that, drummers love that. It's like having an extreme pan guitar, but not at the same time. It's hard to explain, but it feels really good. It feels like you have your head in front of that guitar amp. And because of the difference in microphone, the fact that you have one on extreme side of the stereo spectrum, it doesn't phase. If you got your mic physically in phase right, it just sounds good. Give that a try. Let me read what's going on here. Do you use stereo live? Yes, everything that is a stereo source, I take it as a stereo source. Guitar modeler, piano, drum overhead, whatever that you can have that is a stereo source. Every other instrument will be mono, but sometimes will be panned if I have the option. When I have a lot of singer, I try to pan them physically where they are. So I'm sitting at the console and I try to make my vocalist on the left sound. Oh, sorry, it's backward for you guys, right? I try to make my vocalist on the left to sound a little on the left. Like if I was physically looking at the stage and I want the source, I want the pan to tell me which of the singer in front of me is singing. I don't go hard. I just go like, a little bit of pan. But I don't do mono mixes at all. Everything is pan a little bit, except bass drum, snare, lead vocal. That's about it. Okay. Oh, sorry, Thunderhouse, you retract your message there. I don't know what you were saying. I didn't see it, but okay. I need to experiment with the width on that. I don't know if it's a good something useful that I could do, but my approach is try to be as simple as possible. Sometimes I'm doing a live show. In the studio is a different game. But when I'm doing live sound, channel source, channel strip into PA, make it sound good. Once you got all your source sounding good, now you experiment with effect. And once you experiment with effect, it's throwing back the ball at you. But let's be honest, most of the time I don't have the PA to fight for. I'll be honest. Like where we just went into New Brunswick. One day we were in a high school with like really old PA, and I was lucky to do in-ear monitor, but the front of house engineer that day was like, well, I'll do the best I can, but it's never gonna sound like that good. It's not gonna sound like the record today. So I'm like, okay. This is the reality of doing live sound. Of course, when I'm doing in-ear monitor, it's like a hybrid between being in the studio and in-ear because I don't have to deal with feedback. I don't have to deal with sound bleeding issues. It's a different game too. It's like, how does it sound in my ear? And there's no limitation. I can boost or cut and it doesn't do anything, but it doesn't affect everything else. But only the input, I believe, is also way easier for me to do. In-ear monitor, but just different game, different stuff. Another option seems to use sampling delay. Wouldn't trust this too much in case of frequent sampling frequency. You mean time delay? What do you mean, Patrick? Here we're talking about panning with delay. I've done that on some recording stuff. Live, it doesn't make sense because you have to having two of everything and delay one side and keep the other one in the center is not a fan of doing that, but definitely working. Physically, it doesn't. Physically, it's working when you just take one mono source, delay it on one side. Your brain will perceive it as being pan on one side because the way our ears are working, why we hear stereo stuff is because our brain is calculating the delay, the time it takes from sound to reach one ear and the other ear and the reflection of the room on the other side. This is how our brain pan stuff out. For some reason today, I believe we've been going for a long time. I don't know. It's almost 3:30 here. I believe we've been going for a long time, but I'm not really tired. Guys, do you have anything else that you want to talk about? I'm open to open up a little more subject. As long as we can keep it entertaining, it's been the rule here. Keep it entertaining, keep it alive, so people watching the stream and playback don't find any long spot with nothing going on. And I feel like I started the stream with something painful enough and not really, how could I say it? Eclectic. That was eclectic enough that I don't want to bore people to death, so... have you got a lamp on your wing? No, I don't. Actually, this is something that I need to look into. I need to spend money on that. I never felt like I need it, honestly, because everything is backlit, as far as I know, except the fader. If the fader could be backlit, I would not need any kind of lights on the wing. And this is something that I would love. I love to mix in the dark. I love to mix like if I was sitting in the room myself. I don't, most of the time I don't use a riser if possible when I'm mixing. So yeah, definitely would love some maybe I can do it. Maybe I can get some LED in the fader. That's the kind of mod that I will be really comfortable to do. Like get some kind of lights emerging from the fader in the back so I can see my fader. More on that soon. Speaking of soon, what's soon's for Canadian? Soon, my friend. Let's see what's going on with that. Yes, but in DSP world, not analog. Yeah. Yeah, Patrick, you're right. Definitely. Patrick, send us a picture of that. We definitely want to see the light that you build. Do you have some iPad holder for the wing? No, I don't. I don't have any iPad holder for the wing. I no iPad for me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not jumping into that ball game. When I'm using the wing, I don't want to have an iPad. If I do have an iPad, I'm gonna use my X32 rack and keep it a 7 rack unit, and that's it. If I'm carrying this thing around, it's not for me to use an iPad. It's because I want to have fader to play around with. Please Behringer release dual graphic EQ per slot. May I ask you why? Seriously, I don't feel like I miss it. Because if you look at a channel, you got 6 full parametric for effect rack. Not for me. When you have 8 parametric on every single output, you can create. Yeah, no. I don't feel the need for it. Because you have graphic EQ. Oh, hold on. We used it the other day. Yeah, graphic EQ. Let's insert that into a main. Hold on. Do this. Where did I put it? Here. You have a 31 band EQ. What would you want it to be? Because think about it. The way that the wing is built, you do not need to have separate EQ because your bus is either mono or stereo. Or make selectable graphic or parametric on the bus dedicated. Yeah, like they're doing on Soundcraft. I believe on the Soundcraft you have a 31 band EQ per output, physical output, not only bus. So yeah, but honestly, I don't use graphic EQ anymore, as less as possible. When I run out of parameter on my main out 6 parameter EQ, I'm done. It's not gonna sound like I try to compromise less, but if I have to cut down feedback on every single frequencies, there's something wrong, and I try to fix that instead of just over EQ everything. Because over EQing is not a solution. It's just create a different kind of problem. Because I don't want to say more, just creating a different kind of problem. When I'm doing monitor now, I try to stick with the 6 band, and if it sounds like garbage, I just move the monitor around. I just find another solution. But the 31 band EQ is, I can completely destroy the phase of my signal with the 31 band EQ, but the overall result will not be that better, honestly. Who knows? Let's go back here. I'd love to have monitor out from the wing to show monitor signal on the widescreen. Oh yes, trust me, I do. Actually, on the first prototype, I don't remember who told me this. On the first prototype, there was supposed to be an HDMI out for the screen, but I believe because they went for the touchscreen, they didn't want to implement the same thing, or it was not working, so they throw that idea in the garbage. But I believe at some point somebody thought about the idea of having like an external screen. Neil, welcome. Good evening, Neil. I'm 20 subs away from 2K. Did I mention that, Herman? I'm almost there. For some reason, you guys keep subscribing to the channel, and I love it. I love it. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do a studio tour finally at the 2K. Anybody using a wireless trackball with the wing? That would make sense. I know when the mousetrap version of the firmware was released. Oh, sorry, phone is ringing. Not available. My friend Simon didn't look if I was online. He knows. He likes to. He likes to play around with me when I'm doing all my live stream. Guys, okay. I want to know, is the Bluetooth thing fixed with the trackball and the mouse? Because when the firmware was released, some people were complaining that not everything was working properly using wireless dongle into the USB for a mouse when you enable mouse or mice support. Let me know. The link above is I don't see the link, Patrick. It's for the modification made to an IKEA LED lamp to work on 12 volt from an X32. Okay. Oh, it's Patrick. You have an HDMI slot on your prototype, but I'm curious to know, where is it? Is it in one of the output? Okay, successful on the wireless mouse, so maybe it's fixed. Jonathan, really good question. Can you buy replacement armrest for the wing? I don't think you can buy parts for the wing. I don't know who this week asked me. He was looking for a fader cap, and I said, well, if you contact the distributor, and apparently Toman, maybe you guys are wrong. Maybe I was Maybe the person did not research really well. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the benefits of the doubt here. Oh, I just translate that. Sorry. I'm gonna doubt and overlook everything myself, but I do not believe that you can buy parts for the wing. What I would suggest you to do, and what I need to do myself, is cover it with something. My friend Simon, who just called me, he has some part of carbon fiber vinyl that he gave me, and I just need to take some time and create myself a wrap of carbon fiber vinyl. Why is it hard to say? I need to cover mine into carbon fiber vinyl because I have some dents in there. It's probably pine, so it's probably easy to dent stuff, but I'm gonna patch it up with some wood filler, make it really smooth, cover it up in vinyl wrap, carbon fiber finish, whatever it could be, whatever color that you want. I saw some people with like funny stuff on it, but definitely for the future, I'm just gonna wrap it up and call it a day. Well, speaking of calling something a day, I think the stream is gonna be called a day for us. Now, don't worry, I will be here next week as usual. It's so fun to have you guys around. It's such a great moment of my week to start the week with having you guys around. I love it. Thank you very, very much. Now, it's on, okay, the HDMI, it's on the back of this above the power socket, approximately. So, okay. So, okay, that's enough for today. I'm going to call it a night or a day or an afternoon. Actually, I have to work. I have something like 40-something email to work through today. Guys, always a pleasure to have you around. I want you to please, until the next one, stay safe. Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single of you. Every single person here who's watching. Thank you. Have a good one. Have a good evening. Until the next one, take care of yourself for real. See you guys.